During my early adolescence, I used to own like a ton of compilation albums. Um, Mostly because back in the day, I felt as if having, buying compilation albums was much better than buying the standard album from that one band. Because having multiple bands on the CD is I thought it was like much better than that. But nowadays, I just buy like you know, the the primary, the actual album from the band. Because well, first off, they barely make compilation albums anymore, and they never discuss them or advertise it on TV as much as they used to during like the '90s and the 2000s. With like digital downloads, basically, overtaking, physical media, it's become impossible. But the following compilations I used to own there were two Buzz albums. The Buzz is a compilation of like mostly hits from like popular hits from like '90s alternative rock groups like you know Sublime, 311, Third Eye Blind, Eve Six, Candlebox, Collective Soul, Soul Asylum, Toad the Wet Sprocket, Belly, The Cranberries. Just a ton of other good stuff. REM was on it, and Buzz Ballads was like a compilation of certain alternative rock groups is more like softer accomplishments Lightning Crashes by Liv was on that album. Glycerine by Bush was on it. Doll Parts by Hole was on it too. And Santeria by Sublime was on it as well. And just like a bunch of other good stuff was on it. Um, I also owned like a couple of you know Headbangers Ball compilation albums. During the time when Jamie Josta from Hatebreed was the host of the show during like the early 2000s. Like the first compilation album had like Godsmack, Hatebreed, Stained, Mushroom Head, Rob Zombie, Killswitch Engage, As I Lay Dying, 18 Visions, Cradle of Filth, Lamb of God was on it, Devil Driver was on it. Um, just like a bunch of other good stuff in a lot of stuff that I'm trying to get into. And Volume 2 had Slipknot, Korn, Kitty, Killswitch Engage again, Avenged Sevenfold was on it, Himsa was on it, the Black Dahlia Murder, um, a bunch of other good stuff. Two other albums that I used to own were The Return of the Rock, like MTV's The Return of the Rock, both Volume 1 and 2. Both were compilations of mostly like hard rock and heavy metal groups, obviously. Like Volume 1 had, Slipknot, Machine Head, Seven Dust, Incubus, POD, Kitty was on it. Um, uh, and oh yeah, and a bunch of other good stuff. And Volume 2 had Limp Bizkit and Fuel was on that one, you know, and yeah, like a ton of Orgy was on that one as well. But I'm not gonna get into excessive detail about who was on the album because well, first I haven't owned those albums in a long time, so but I do remember a lot of the bands that were on it. But there was one band on Volume One that I thought was like the most underrated, and it's this band. Most like like the most devoted nu metal fans will probably remember the title of this band. This is a band called Full Devil Jacket. They're a alternative, nu metal band from Jacksonville, Tennessee. They started off very small, but then they were discovered by a record producer who has, produced music from Collective Soul and Matchbox 20. And so that's how, so I guess Malcolm Springer was the one who produced this particular album. And this, this is like their first full length self-titled album released in 2000 through the Island Def Jam Music Group. And so like when they became when they started to gain popularity, they went on tour. They appeared during the Tattoo the Earth tour, which featured well, it was like a heavy metal festival that featured Slipknot and Sepultura and Seven Dust and so and I think Machine Head was there too. And so this is basically their most well-known accomplishment. Like after this, they have not made another album until a decade and a half later when they released their 2015 album. That one I do not own because but they also made a EP. But other than that, this is basically their most accomplished album. So the the song that appeared on the compilation album was Stain, which is track 6 of this. I guess it's the main single, but another hit that's on it is the first track, "Wanna Be Martyr." That song actually appeared on Scream 3, the album. I actually used to own the album, and although I don't own the movie per se, but I do own the original. So so it kind of counts that I discuss Scream 3, so because it's part of that franchise. But you know what I mean. So but the other stuff on this album is pretty awesome. I very much enjoy this album. I found this for $2 in the clearance section at Half Price Books. It's totally worth it. For $2. I mean, like I said, back in the day, it used to be just like a buck, but now I guess they raise the price a little, but it's still worth it. It it I just enjoy this album. It's too bad that these guys did not get as much credit that they deserved when they were still around. Like I don't think they had much airplay, when this album was released. I think for the most part, because none of the songs on this album, as far as I'm concerned, has a music video, so it didn't receive as much fanfare as much as I think that it should have. But but either way, I still like it. It's got a good, I mean, it is kind of edema and a little bit like 40 Below Summer, kind of, and it's and a bit Trust Company and other good stuff like that. And I would seriously give this one a go. you know, and I'm sure that a lot of dedicated new metal fans still remember this band, you know, because because this is like a to most music fans, they're pretty, you know, obscure, but to the most dedicated new metal fans, they are, you know, they deserve to be one of the pioneering of you know, obscure, you know, new metal groups out there. And like if you are a new metal fan, I would give this one a go. So, Full Devil Jacket. Their their self-titled album released in 2000 through the Island Def Jam Music Group. If you can find this anywhere at your local record shop or used anywhere at a flea market or a thrift store anywhere, I would pick it up and I would give it a go. And because I personally recommend it, I personally enjoy it, and I hope that once you find it, I hope that you like it as well. Thanks for watching.